Stop guessing. This is the best fasting length for fat loss. What if everything you thought you knew about fasting was only half the story? You've heard that skipping breakfast burns fat. That 16 hours is the magic number, or that longer fasts melt fat like crazy. But the truth is, your body transforms hour by hour in ways most people don't understand. A 12-hour fast doesn't do what a 16-hour fast does. And a 36-hour fast takes you into an entirely different metabolic world. Today, we're going to break down exactly what happens at each fasting length so you finally know which one actually burns the most fat and which one is right for your body. Stay with me. This is where fasting finally makes sense. Fasting has become one of the most popular tools for fat loss, metabolic health, and longevity. But with so many different fasting lengths being promoted everywhere, 12 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, alternate day fasting, extended fasting, it leaves people wondering the same question: which fasting window is actually the best for burning fat? Millions of people try intermittent fasting every year, but most are confused about what happens inside the body at each fasting stage. They hear that fasting burns fat, but they don't really understand how, when, and why the body switches from sugar-burning mode to fat-burning mode. And more importantly, they don't understand how the length of the fast changes everything. Today, we're going to break down the real science of what happens during a 12-hour fast, a 16-hour fast, and a 36-hour fast. Each length triggers a completely different metabolic response. Each affects hormones differently, energy differently, fat burning differently, and even the brain differently. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly which fasting length fits your goals, your lifestyle, and your metabolic condition. Fat loss isn't simply about not eating. It's about understanding the biological clock that your body follows every time you stop consuming calories. So let's go deep into the science, starting from the very first hours of your fast. When you stop eating, your body immediately begins to transition through several metabolic stages. For the first few hours after a meal, your body is still digesting food and absorbing nutrients. Glucose is being used for energy, insulin is elevated, and fat burning is essentially turned off. But after that digestion window passes, your body enters a state known as post-absorptive metabolism, where insulin drops and the body begins to draw energy from stored sources, first from glycogen, then from fat. This transition is not instant. It unfolds slowly, and the timing of that transition is exactly what separates the difference between a 12-hour fast, a 16-hour fast, and a 36-hour fast. To understand this better, we need to briefly explore what the body does with glucose and fat. When you eat, especially carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin tells your cells to take in glucose for energy and store excess glucose as fat. As long as insulin is high, fat burning is blocked. Only when insulin falls low enough does your body unlock the door to fat stores and begin burning stored fat for energy. This is where fasting truly becomes powerful, not because you're starving, but because fasting creates the hormonal environment required for the body to access stored fat that is otherwise locked away. With that foundation in mind, let's analyze the fasting lengths one by one. The 12-hour fast is the easiest and most natural form of fasting. Many people do it without even realizing it by simply finishing dinner at 7 p.m. and eating breakfast at 7 a.m. But what actually happens during these 12 hours? Last meal, insulin remains elevated enough to keep fat burning low. Around hour 9 or 10, insulin drops significantly and your body begins to switch into a lower insulin metabolic state. However, a 12-hour fast is still relatively short, and the body rarely enters deep fat burning or ketosis. The benefits mainly include reduced late-night snacking, lower average daily insulin exposure, a mild increase in fat oxidation, support for circadian rhythm. A 12-hour fast is a great starting point for beginners or for people trying to stabilize their eating patterns. It nudges the body toward fat burning but doesn't push it far enough to cause dramatic metabolic changes. For fat loss, it works but slowly. It's ideal for people who don't want lifestyle disruption, but it's not the level where most major fat-burning effects occur. The 16-hour fast, the fat-burning sweet spot. Now let's move into the fasting length many people swear by, the 16-hour fast, commonly called the 16-to-8 method. This is the point where the body crosses a major metabolic threshold. By hour 12 to 13, your body begins using stored glycogen for energy. By hour 14 to 15, glycogen is significantly depleted in most people. Insulin drops even lower, and the body starts shifting into fat-burning mode. But by hour 16, something special happens. Your body begins producing more ketone bodies, signaling the start of metabolic switching. This is when people often report increased energy, better mental clarity, reduced hunger, improved fat oxidation, better insulin sensitivity. Why does this happen? Because 16 hours is typically the minimum amount of time needed to reach regular fat mobilization. It's long enough to bring insulin down significantly, yet short enough to be manageable for most lifestyles. This is why millions of people find 16-to-8 fasting effective. It's a sustainable window that consistently promotes fat burning without pushing the body into extreme stress. Default text if your goal is steady, sustainable fat loss with clear metabolic improvements. The 16-hour fast is often the ideal balance. The 36-hour fast, the advanced metabolic reset. Now we enter a different realm entirely. A 36-hour fast is not just a longer version of a 16-hour fast. It puts your body into an entirely different metabolic state. By the 24-hour mark, glycogen is almost fully depleted, and ketone production rises sharply. Growth hormone increases dramatically, sometimes up to 5-fold, to preserve muscle tissue. Insulin hits its lowest point, making fat burning extremely active. Between hours 24 and 36, your body starts tapping into deeper fat reserves. You may also begin to activate autophagy, a cellular cleanup process associated with longevity, detoxification, and improved cell repair. During this period, fat burning becomes the dominant energy source. Hunger often decreases due to ketones. Inflammation may drop. Cells begin repairing damaged proteins. Energy becomes more stable. Stomach and digestive organs get meaningful rest. However, a 36-hour fast is not for beginners. It requires adaptation, proper hydration, and knowledge of electrolyte balance. When done correctly, it can accelerate fat loss, improve insulin sensitivity, and trigger deeper metabolic healing. But it's not necessary for everyone, and overuse can be counterproductive. Which fasting length burns fat the fastest? Here's the straightforward answer. 12 hours, light fat burning. Good for beginners or maintenance. 16 hours, strong fat burning. Ideal for sustainable fat loss, 36 hours. Deep fat burning plus ketosis plus autophagy, best for advanced metabolic reset. If you want consistent daily fat loss, 16 hours is usually the sweet spot. If you want aggressive fat loss or metabolic healing, occasional 24 to 36-hour fasts can be extremely effective. If you simply want health improvement without lifestyle change, 12 hours is the easiest win. Fasting is one of the most powerful tools available for fat loss, but the benefits depend heavily on the length of the fast. 12 hours is a gentle start. 16 hours is the fat-burning sweet spot. 36 hours is a metabolic accelerator. But the best fasting length is the one you can do consistently, because consistency rewires your metabolism, reshapes your relationship with food, and allows your body to burn fat naturally without forcing or suffering. Fasting isn't just about skipping meals, it's about giving your body the chance to operate the way it was designed to.